Good morning. I'm Connie Fugso with Foote Title Group. Hope you guys are having an awesome morning today. This is Coffee with Connie. We've done this for the past couple of months and coming to you live today, Thursday, this beautiful October morning. Almost feels like summer. It's a little strange. So I wanted to talk to you today about what is this homeownership protection thing mean. So first, let me say, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. I know how valuable your time is, particularly in the morning, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to what I have to help you with. Let me point out that I really would like, if you're tuning in, that you check in and say hi. Helps me figure out who my audience is, what kind of things to talk about, how I can help you, and it makes our conversations a little more successful for me to be able to deliver information to you that's helpful. So if you're on, please check in and say hi. If you check in and you have a question or something comes up, or maybe you just want to ask a question about home ownership, real estate, title insurance, title, mortgages. I don't purport to know all the answers, but let me tell you, I've been doing this for a long time, so I've had lots of different experiences. So there's lots of things that I have information on that I'm sure that I can get you some details on. If I don't know the answers, I can certainly find them for you, and I would love to do that. So as I said, I'm Connie Fugso with Foote Title Group, where we know how overwhelming the home buying process is, and it is our passion to make sure that the process is as simple as it can be for you, that you actually enjoy the process because you're buying a home. How exciting is that? We keep you in the loop every step of the way, and we make sure that you and your home are protected when you walk away from that closing table with your keys. So today I want to talk for just a few minutes about home ownership and being protected, because we talk about that all the time, but it's a little confusing. What does that actually mean? You know, I'm taking the time to find the right realtor, to find the house that I love, that I really want, and then I'm taking the time to find the right mortgage company and the right mortgage professional that I expose all of my personal financial information to so that I can borrow money to buy that dream home. But what does it mean when I actually am buying that home and I want to make sure that my home's protected? Well, you'll make sure that you do that in a couple of ways. One is that you're going to get homeowners insurance from your insurance carrier to make sure that there's no catastrophes that happen that would affect the structure of your home. And that's super important because we want to make sure if there's a fire or there's a hurricane or anything that happens that is something that is out of your control, that your home will be protected and the insurance will cover those things. But the thing we're talking about today is protecting your actual ownership. And a lot of people don't understand that this is one of the things that a title company does. They make sure that the ownership, that you take ownership to that property and that is protected. So I wanted to talk to you for a few minutes about how that works, what that means, who has any roles in that, and how we get to where we make sure that you're protected. So as I've told you a couple of times before, a title company's job is to make sure that they do a lot of different things, but it boils down to three pretty basic understandings as far as you're concerned. Number one is that when we first understand that we have a buyer and a seller that are going to be purchasing a property and we're going to be working on that for them, we get the contract, we get all of the paperwork, and we do a title search because we want to make sure that the person that's selling that property is the person that actually can sell that property, that owns that property, and that they're the only people that own it, and maybe there isn't some other people in that ownership chain that have an interest. The other things we want to make sure of is the property that you think you're buying really the property that is owned by these people. Not only just are they selling the right piece to you? You know, they could own several pieces of property, but are you getting the one that you thought you were purchasing? So there's some other things that go in that we would actually see in the chain of title. Maybe we would find out what mortgages, well, not maybe, we would find out what mortgages they may have against the property, make sure that those are resolved, paid off, and released so that you don't have that to deal with. Do they have any liens or judgments? Or do they owe anybody any money that hasn't been paid for? Or does the property have any rights of way that maybe you don't know about that allow people to travel to and from different places through that piece of property? So the title search is going to tell us a lot of those different things. And let me just clarify for a second that a title and a deed are two different things. So a deed is the actual piece of paper that you get, that the seller signs, that explains that the seller is transferring their ownership in that property to you. The title is all of the things that have gone through that ownership for as long as that piece of property has existed. So a title is actually accumulation of the ownership transfers, the mortgages that may have been borrowed against the property, all of the things that have happened with that property since its existence. And when we do a title search, the standard in the industry is to do a search for 60 years, because typically if something is going to have arisen that could affect your ownership, it would have come up during that time. So I just wanted to clarify that a little bit for you, because a lot of people confuse the ownership with a piece of property with the ownership of a vehicle, and the title to your vehicle is the actual piece of paper that gives you the ownership, and in a piece of real estate that's not the case. So when we're talking about protecting your ownership, we as a title company, we do a title search and make sure that everything we understand that you expect to be purchasing and from who you're purchasing is in fact what's happening. And a lot of times that isn't always exactly the case. So we want to do that search, and then we're going to have conversations with you, your realtors, your mortgage professionals, all of those things about things that come up in that title search to make sure that it accurately reflects what you expect that you're purchasing and who you're purchasing it from. So as I said, on a simplistic level, we're looking to make sure that the people that are selling it are all of the people that own it. We're looking for the fact that the mortgages that they may have against the property, people that they may owe money for that has been recorded against that property, is in fact who we're going to be taking care of, who we're going to be paying off, making sure we have statements for all of those things, and making sure that those get released. If there's mortgages on that property that aren't something that the seller has given us information on, they may not know that something wasn't properly released. So our job is to review all of that information and then to resolve any things that come up, because we want to make sure that you are protected when you walk away from that closing. And you know what I'm going to tell you is not all title companies are created equal. Not everyone goes through the process of the details of making sure those are all taken care of. And that's why it's important that you make choices about who handles this very important part of your home purchase, because the closing is part of that process. Sitting at the closing, making sure that all the documents are in the right place, making sure all the money gets to the right place. But when you walk away from that table, you want to make sure that the insurance that you have that protects your ownership is written by a company who does a good job of what's needed to make sure that that insurance is good. And you know, it's no different than getting homeowners insurance or auto insurance and making sure that you deal with a company. Not only is price important, but also what are your coverages. You know, a lot of times we just assume that the insurance carrier that is providing you the insurance, they give you what's standard in the industry. Well, what happens if you have, and we're talking about homeowners insurance now, what happens if you have a homeowners insurance policy that is a standard policy and you have a lot of valuable figurines that maybe someone in your family had brought back from being in service overseas, and they're extremely valuable both personally and financially to you, and those there's a requirement in a lot of homeowners insurance policies that you have a rider to cover anything over a certain amount of dollars. So if you aren't asking the right questions and getting all of the right information and don't have a professional that's asking you things to help you make sure that you've got the proper protection, then you aren't going to be protected when you have a fire or you have a loss, a thing stolen, a storm that affects the home that may cause a loss for these items. So the same type of thing is true when you're talking about protecting your ownership on your property. A home ownership protecting your home ownership has to do with making sure that the company that you're working with and the professionals that you're working with do walk through and make sure that you understand what's going on and that all the pieces are in the right place. So when you get that homeowner's insurance, owner's title insurance policy, that it protects your ownership properly, and they've done all of the proper steps and research to take care of that. So that's what we're talking about today, a little bit about protecting your ownership and what that actually means. We're going to talk a little bit in the future about title insurance and the differences of different title insurance policies, but I really just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up this morning about what does that actually mean when you're talking about protecting home ownership. And the title company is responsible for doing that search, because the lender's not going to loan money for you to buy that property if they aren't sure that they're protected as well. And so that'll get into a future discussion we have that I want to explain to you more details about the title insurance policies. But today I just really wanted to talk to you for a few minutes about what that means to protect your home ownership. You know, you're dealing with a company that you want to make sure that does a detailed job of making sure that all of any questionable things that are in that ownership chain when they do the title search are taken care of. So when you walk away from the table with those keys, that you know that anything that could have affected that ownership has been resolved and you are protected by getting your title insurance policy. So good morning. Hey Phil, how are you this morning? Thanks so much for tuning in. So I just wanted to start you off with talking about title insurance and protecting home ownership and understanding a little bit about the title search and some of the things that are done when that happens. So hopefully that helped you out a little bit this morning. I really appreciate you tuning in. I wanted to point out a couple of things for you. We have a lot of resources on our website, www.foottetitlegroup.com. If you need a home buyer's guide, you're selling and you want a seller's guide, those are on there. Planning your move checklist is on there. A flow chart on what happens when you're buying a home so you can understand the processes is there for you. One of the things I'm super proud of is, you know, when you're sitting at the closing table, a lot of things are flying back and forth. People are talking, documents are coming in front of you, and sometimes you don't have opportunity to review all of that paperwork with the eye that you'd like to review that with. So we've accumulated a book of documents, sample documents, that are about 50 of the most common documents you may see at closing. Now, they're not going to be exactly what you have at the closing table. They're going to be very similar, and the information is not filled in specifically about your loan. But these will give you a background, a little bit of information if you want the opportunity to look at some of that stuff in advance. Those are on our website as well. So there's lots of resources on our resources page, and you can go through there and look at a lot of those sample things that we have. We're working on a new feature that's going to be on there. Hopefully, we're hoping to launch by the middle of November. That'll give you a whole lot more information if you're moving into a new community. As I've told you before, we are licensed in Maryland and Virginia. We can do closings in any of those states for you, and we have some resources that are getting ready to launch that will help you in those particular communities. So please do check that information out. And the most exciting thing I want to share with you right now is on November 15th, we are going to be doing an interactive webinar on the 5 most important things you need to know for your home closing. And I'm super excited about this because when I say interactive, it's not going to be just me talking on Facebook Live. It's going to be a webinar that you can get on and interact and talk with other potential homeowners, people that already own homes, sellers. All of you can get on there and talk to each other. Realtors can be logged in there so you can ask questions with them. Lenders, we're going to have some of those as well. So there will be all types of professionals, and those of us who are there to help you answer questions. We're going to talk about the 5 most important things you need to know for your home closing. That's November 15th at 7 p.m. We want to do it at 7 p.m. because we realize that you have a lot of things going on during the day, and hopefully that gives you a little time to get home from work, get your kids fed, get homework started, and tune in with us. We're going to take an hour of your time and hopefully get you some really good information. So I am really excited about that. Our registration opened on Monday, so check out our social media, footetitlegroup.com. Foote Title Group. check out check your email box. If you get emails regularly from us, then you should have gotten that email on Monday, and you need to get registered as soon as you can because there's only 100 spots. So we are super excited to bring that to you on November 15th at 7 p.m. and hopefully you got some good information from me this morning, and I look forward to talking to you again real soon. Hope you guys have an awesome Thursday. Enjoy this fabulous weather we're having on the East Coast, on the mid-East Coast. And if you're tuning in from other areas, I hope you're doing well too. Thanks so much for tuning in, and please share this video if you felt like it was good, valuable information. And if it wasn't, please message me and tell me some things that you might like to know more about your home closing. So I hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Have a great day, guys.